What's going on, everybody? Welcome to what I believe is going to be the second video on my channel. This is MotoMoney, and this is going to be the first video where we actually talk about the main focus of this channel, which is money. But I still don't know what I'm going to title this video. I'm guessing it's probably going to be something along the lines of how to save money, which sounds like it would be something really easy to do. And I think just about anybody who's clicked this video knows it's not that easy to do if you don't know how. So I just want to come right out the gates and say that I am not coming to you as some sort of financial expert. I do work with money. I do work with people's personal finances. I'm not like any sort of financial advisor or anything. So over time, by working and even more importantly, just managing my own money, I have learned a lot of do's and don'ts when it comes to saving. The thing that makes saving money so hard, its arch nemesis, spending money, is so easy. And it's a necessary evil. It's like eating, right? This is why so many people struggle with weight loss. You have to eat. You have to stay alive. Same thing with spending money. You have to spend money to stay alive, to get food, to do anything. So if you're not really good at managing it, it is so unbelievably easy to just throw it all out the window and have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. I really want to emphasize here, I'm not coming to you from some sort of standpoint like I've always been good at managing my money. Oh, I've always known what I was doing. I've never done anything dumb. No, I've done so much dumb stuff. Like so much dumb stuff. I've maxed out credit cards. I've had like $0 in the bank. I've definitely had negative balances in the bank. This is not me coming to you as though I've never made any mistakes and that I've always been good at it. In fact, I've been really bad at it, and this is why the things that I can kind of show you are so useful. They work for people like me, you know, people who weren't inherently good at dealing with their money. So the first thing we should talk about when it comes to saving money is, what is saving money? And you think that's so obvious, it just means I get it and I don't spend it. Yeah, that is exactly right. That is exactly right. But saving money has somehow become this thing that, even though the definition is so obvious, it appears that many people have it confused. They think that saving money means buying something for less than its original value or whatever their perceived value is. So for example, if I buy a plane ticket to Florida and it costs me $500, but all of a sudden the tickets are on sale for $400, I'm like, oh cool, I just saved $100. No, I didn't. I just spent $400. It's pretty easy, right? If you saved $400, you would have $400. If you spend $400, you have spent $400. There's no savings. The only scenario in which you're saving is if you were already going to Florida to visit, I don't know, your aunt, your cousin, your grandpa, and even then, you spent. But that's what makes it so tough, right? Is because, like I said, we have to spend anyways, right? We have to go visit grandpa. We have to buy food for the baby. We have to do all this stuff. So that's where, the lines get blurred. But we have to recognize that anytime we spend money, we are not saving. We are spending. So that's a tough mindset to try and reprogram yourself to think like. You have to be thinking any single time you're swiping your card, that is money out. Anytime there's money coming in, that is money coming in. That is actual saving until you spend it. And so we already get primed to kind of swiping our cards and spending money on these things that are really important, the housing, the food. These usually aren't very small costs. Groceries add up. Rent is a big chunk of money, right? To have a roof over our head, or our mortgage. These aren't small sums of money. They're many hundreds of dollars, if not more than 1,000 or what have you. So you see these big amounts of money getting flung out of your account, and that feels really bad, to be honest. It feels very bad because you might be bringing home maybe $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month, and then you're kissing goodbye $1,500. So you get home from work, you got your $4,000 that you make a month, you take out the $1,500 that's the mortgage payment, and you are left with $2,500. We went from 4 to 25. That feels pretty significant, right? On top of that, you have your $250 for your family plan. Now we're down to $2,250. Then we take out electric. That's like 90 to 100 something, down to $2,150. great. You got groceries, and if you got a small family or it's a couple of you or something, I don't know, 150, 250 a week, you start to see where all of a sudden all that money that you're making at work, it's not really going anywhere. None of it's really left over month per month, and it bums you out, and it bums me out too. At the end of the day, you're left with about 500 to 1500 that's left over from your checks, right? Oh, check it out, we got another Harley over here. You're left over each month with a little bit of money, and that money doesn't seem like that much, right? But when you think about it, I mean, if you saved up even just 1,000 every single month for the whole year, you'd finish off the year with 12 grand. 12 grand's pretty sizable, depending on where you live. Like, that's enough for a down payment on a house. I mean, it's definitely enough to buy a brand new motorcycle. There's a million things you can do with 12 grand, and if you're saving 1,500 every month, then, you know, now you're at 18 grand. That's almost 20K. There's tons of stuff you can do. It's pretty much a new car. But the thing is, then you talk to all these people who have these pretty good jobs. A lot of times they're making way more than the figures I'm talking about, and their mortgage payment is way less than the figures I'm talking about. Yet somehow there's nothing saved. In fact, it's more the opposite. They're making a bunch of payments on things that they don't own, whether it's a car, personal loans, credit cards, you name it, they got it. And by the way, I am not saying any of this in any sort of, oh man, can you believe these guys? Like, I've done all of that stuff. Like I said, I've maxed out credit cards. I've taken out personal loans, student loans. That one maybe is a necessary evil. I'm not... We'll get into that some other time. I've definitely got some thoughts on those. But you know, it's like, dang, a lot of people I see who are making even more than me have nothing to show for it. Those 500 to 1,500 to some people 3,000 extra dollars, they fall out of thin air and they all go to mindless spending. Little stuff that is not important, that brings nothing to your life. The 2 times a week that you go out to a restaurant with your significant other and you spend $70 for, I don't know, a couple entrees and maybe a couple drinks, that's $150 a week to go out twice a week. Times 4, you do the math, right? If you were on that $500 scale, I mean, that's like all your money. Where else does it go? We got going out to fancy dinners. How about how many times do you get takeout? I know, I sound so annoying because, like, everybody kind of gets this spiel of like, come on, dude, going out and getting takeout a couple times a week is not the real problem here. Sadly, though, sadly, it is. It really is. And don't get me wrong, I've seen the argument that a lot of times groceries are even more expensive. Oh yeah, they totally can be. As you can see, even with the food thing, you can get screwed over. I mean, that can just eat up your wallet. And where else is this money going? Could be going to a whole slew of things. Netflix, Hulu, small random expenses that come up every week. Every single week, you're gonna have a couple random expenses that just come up, right? Like, you gotta buy like a, I don't know, a toolbox. You already just ate up everything. That's your whole profits. That brand new car that you probably could have saved up to get at the end of the year is already out of the picture. It's your money. At the end of the day, you do what you want with it. And I'm never going to try and come at something and tell you you shouldn't do something, you should do something. I can just give my advice and say, this is what I would do. I mean, I'm sure I'll throw around saying, you should do this, you shouldn't. And I say it to myself too. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't get Wendy's like 5 times a week. Do I do it? Sometimes. It's life. I'm a human. Oh, and this is another good one. Okay, bars. Dude, come on. Not talking crap. I still go to bars occasionally. I love beer. I love beer. And I can get so much beer. Enough for the month and like what it would cost me of one night of going out to the bars, especially after I've had some drinks at the bars. I mean, who's gonna stop me from spending more than I should? Probably not me. Hence why I don't really go to the bars. There's so many creative ways to just blow all of your money. Now let's talk about reprogramming and getting out of any sort of habits that are gonna take this money away from you. Let me just start in. This is a cool little way that you can reprogram your brain to not spend and start putting a negative negative thing in your mind anytime you swipe your card, right? Because anytime you buy something that you want, you have it in your head, okay, when I swipe my card, I get something that makes me happy. Bad. Because then you want to swipe all the time and you buy a whole bunch of crap that doesn't actually make you happy. It's just like this instant gratification. What you're going for is delayed gratification. Do you want this sweater right now, or do you want this brand new car at the end of the year? Depends how cute that sweater is, right? So this is how you reprogram, and it's going to be 30 days. If you really can't do 30 days, do 21 days. It takes 21 days to form a habit, right? And I promise you, after you do this, it will be so much easier for you to save, because at the end of it, you will have saved a lot of money. If you give yourself 30 days where you do it, you're giving yourself an extra buffer, 9 days. So you might as well do it. Take a little bit of time, reprogram your brain to save some money. Save a little money. And then when you save your money, you don't have to watch videos like this. Here's what you're gonna do, right? This month, you are going to write out all of your expenses. You are going to, I'm talking physically write them out. Mind you, this is something that tons of people do. Tons of people who are good at managing their money. This is what they do. They actually like sit and kind of like obsess over it because they're treating their money like a business. This is what, you know, this is what people do. Oh, this is a terrible road. Oh my God, this road sucks. I'm talking everything. Phone bill, electric bill, insurance, mortgage, car payments, everything. Okay? Anything else you can think of. And this seems obvious. This seems like, oh, we're just budgeting. Like, this is what people do anyways, and then figure out what's left in the budget, yada, yada. Yeah, that is what you're doing, but I'm going to teach you some hardcore stuff, okay? And you got to be, that's the other thing. You got to be down to be a little bit hardcore. It's only a month, so be hardcore for this month. Now, the next thing you are going to do is write down what you made on your last 2 paychecks. I'm assuming that you're paid bi-weekly. If you're paid weekly, lucky you. Write down exactly, like to the cent, how much you made on those last 2 paychecks or last 4 paychecks, depending. Now that you've got that written down, you are going to subtract all of those expenses from the amount that you determined you make each month. And for the next month, you are not going to go out to eat a single time. And I'm making assumptions. Maybe some of you don't. Some of you probably cook. This is where it gets even trickier. You are going to wake up, and in the morning you have 2 options. Instant oatmeal or eggs. That's it. For lunch, you will have soup from a can. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually really good. Go to Walmart, it's $1.88 currently. Breakfast, oatmeal. You will only be drinking water. That sounds like a pretty good way to save money, right? Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and answer for you. Yes, that sounds like a good way to save money. Is this guy coming over here? Do you see what I'm doing here? Like, you're basically spending $1.50 per meal, right? If that. So following that pattern, what do you think you should have for dinner? Remember, it's just a month. It's just a month. It's a whole bunch of stuff that you could potentially have, okay? Don't really have to be super struggle foods, but you should struggle for just a little bit. So dinner, get creative. I promise you can do something that is literally going to be under $2. And you could do something like one singular item that's fast food. That's probably not going to be super filling to me. Honestly, the $1.88 soups, so good. Like, my friends know, I used to literally go to Walmart. I still do. I don't know why I'm saying I used to. There's many times that I will go to Walmart and clear out the soup aisle because I'm doing this. And I don't eat the soups every single day, but once in a while, when I want to get ahead, I might be like, oh crap, my checkings is looking a little low, or maybe I had more expenses than I expected. Dude, I will go on a soup cleanse. It's not a cleanse for my body, probably. It's kind of a lot of sodium, but you know what it is cleansing? My bank account. It's definitely filling, and it's so cheap. So cheap. And if you want to be healthier about it, my mom does the same thing. A lot of this stuff that I'm teaching you, I learned it from my mom. My mom is so good at saving money. She didn't make that much money. She was a single mom. She raised me and my little brother. And when me and my brother were growing up, she got in a car accident and was no longer able to work. She got a brain injury. I don't know if I'm going the right way. But anyways, my mom has made this soup, and she's made healthy versions with fresh vegetables, and it's still, for like your whole day's worth of food, it's probably like $5. 5 times 30, $150 for your month's worth of food. And that's the insane cutback you should do for 1 month. Now, this is not going to be the sustainable method of saving money. This is extreme saving, just temporarily. So while this is not sustainable, what's going to happen is at the end of the month, you are going to look at your bank account and say, holy crap, this is the first time in a while I've had this much money and it can actually sit there. And something kind of clicks in your brain where, number one, you've made it so that when you swipe your card, you're not expecting anything happy, right? You're not expecting, ooh, new sweater. No, you're like, oh, I swiped my card, that means I just got another can of soup. Oh, I swiped my card, that means I just lost a crap ton of money in my bank account because I just paid a bill. The things that you had correlated in your mind, instant gratification of swiping a card, is now correlated with something that is a bummy, negative thing. What we're doing here is we're kind of pulling like in Clockwork Orange, what they called like the Ludovico, where basically they're trying to get the guy to be a good guy, so when they show him things that are bad like violence, they're also electrocuting him. We're trying to do that same sort of thing. We're trying to get you to think, I swipe my card, this sucks. All of a sudden, the spendies, the swipies, which I suffer from, I have chronic swipies, but I do this and I correct myself. When I correct those swipies, I'm able to not just retain my money, but I watch it go up, and then it goes up, and then it goes up, and it keeps going up because I'm not spending, because I already got hooked on watching the money go up. And that I'm telling you guys, when you're watching the money in your bank account rising, that is a way better feeling than that new sweater instantly. That is a way better feeling than when you go out to the bars. Oh, okay, that one's iffy. You can give it a try. Just be a little disciplined for 1 month and think. The reality is when you do this stuff, even for a month, this habit is going to stick with you for like the next 6 months to 2 years to maybe even 5 years. And occasionally, when you start to feel yourself slip, or maybe something might just happen, I mean, life happens, things come up, right? And all of a sudden you're kind of back to square one, and you want to just see that bank account increase like pretty quick, go do that again. So guys, this was just, you know, my one recommendation of how I personally would start saving if I was struggling to do it. And it's not exactly an easy thing to do, because I basically just said, hey, take everything that you love in life and go without it for a month. And if it was that easy to get out of habits, then everybody would do it. But the thing I've noticed is that sometimes, and it's like this with people losing weight too, is that sometimes somebody will say it for you, and for whatever reason, when you hear it that time, it just clicks. So maybe this is the one thing that you try and it just clicks for you, because you actually followed through this time. I don't know, fingers crossed for you. And if this helps in any sort of way, let me know in the comments. And also, I guess, like this video, because that helps me out, and subscribe.